to my channel. This is Sarah McCarthy, the creative director of Salia Apparel. So today I am going to be sharing with you how I cut my kaftan dress. So it's totally unedited, it is not scripted. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can drop it down and I will attend to you. All right, so let me set my camera. Okay, I'll be changing my view. Yep. Okay, I hope you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, I think this is fine. So this is the fabric that I'm going to be using. Okay, let me set it here. So this is the fabric I will be using for, it's an Adire fabric. Okay, it comes in 5 yards. It doesn't come in complete 6 yards. It comes in 5 yards most times. All right, so I am making this kaftan for a client, and I decided to, allow you guys to see what I'm up to here. So the first thing I'm going to be doing now, I'll be working on the shoulder. My client's shoulder is 17. So 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. So I'm just going to be marking 8.5, like so. So I'm marking 8.5 here. All right. Then it depends on the sleeve. You can make it the entire. You can make the sleeve the entire length. That's this place that I put on fold. You can make it your entire length. So it all depends on your choice. Okay. So but I think I want her sleeve to be about 12 inches, or I can make it 13 inches. Okay, so I'll be coming down here by 2 inches, and then right here I'm measuring 3 inches for my neck width. Okay, so I'll place my ruler like so and draw this slanted line. All right, remember I first of all measured the shoulder minus seam allowance, then I added for the sleeve. I marked 13 inches for the sleeve, and then I also measured 3 inches. Please pardon the noise that you'll be hearing around. You know, this is a live session, and this session is totally unscripted. So please pardon the noise you may be hearing. If there are any questions, do drop it on the comment section. And if you find this video helpful, please like and share. I really appreciate it. And if you're just dropping into my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. All right, guys. So this is the front. I'm going to be marking the neck depth for the front, and I'll be making it 7.5 inches, which I marked like so. And I want to make it a V-neck, okay? But this 3 inches might be too small. This is a standard neck. I like using it to get how slanted my curve should be, my shoulder should be, okay? But for this dress, I'll be making it wider than this 3 inches. So I'm going to make it 3.5 inches, all right, rather than the 3 inches. And now I'm going to connect like so, connecting it. So the next thing I'm going to do, I will be using this pattern for both the back and for the front. So I'm going to be drawing curve ruler. So I'm going to be drawing the neckline for the, look at the curve ruler. Please pass me the curve ruler. So I'll be drawing the neckline for both the front and the back. I have drawn that of the back, the front. So the back, I'll be using 1.5 inches for the back, and I'll connect it like so. Okay, So you can see that I have done that of the front and also that of the back. Now moving on, I'll make a straight line here just for a guide for as a guide, okay, for the sleeve, for this round sleeve. Okay, now I'll measure the length of my dress. Her gown length is actually 16 inches. So I'm going to be measuring 16 inches like so. And I'll come here and measure 16 inches. Okay? And I'll draw a line. I'll be adding 2 inches for seam allowance. I actually just wanted to use 1.5 inches, and then the half inch will be for the joining allowance at the top. So that means half inch for the folding allowance on top and 1.5 inches for me to fold the hem. I hope that is understood. Now I would measure the hip. Her hip is 27. It's actually 26, but I decided to make it 27. So together with allowance, there will be no issues. Okay? And I'll be drawing it like so. Beautiful. Alright, so now her hip is actually 47 inches. So 47 divided by 4 is 47 divided by 4, that should give us 11 3/4. Okay, because 48 is 12, so 47 is 11 3/4. So this is 11 3/4 right here. She doesn't want her kaftan to be overly big, so what I will do is to add 2.5 inches to her measurements, so that when I sew, we are using 1 inch to sew and 1.5 inches for ease. So that way it's not going to be too big and it's also going to come out really beautifully. So I would measure it up again. Everything together is giving me 14.5. Let me make it 14.5 inches. Alright. Now for the hem, I'll be making it wider than that so that you'll have leg room, because there's no slits. I think there was no slit in the style I saw. There's no slits. So I want her to have enough leg room. So I'm making it 18 inches and I will add 2.5 inches for the allowance. So now I'll gradually, if you want your kaftan to be really big, this measurement I used here is what you will use up to this point. So it's going to have this straight look. Instead of looking slanted like this, it's going to look straight, you know, like this. Those kaftan that you see that is really, really big. But not everybody like to, you know, wear something that is too bogus. So that is why I'm making it like this. Then if you want your kaftan to still remain this way, even to the hem, it's still fine, it's still valid. But the only thing is that if you're doing that, you have to make a slit. There must be a slit so that you can walk properly. So it all depends. If you want a slit, then whatever you measured here, this 14.5 I measured here, I would also measure it here, and it will be a straight line. Okay, so when you're sewing, you'll make a slit about 17 inches long or 18 inches long, so that way you'll be able to walk freely. All right, Okay, let's move on to this area here. Now, this is a kimono style, so it doesn't have an armhole like the regular dresses. It doesn't have armhole like regular dresses. So what we do here is, rather than using the bust points and all that, I don't work with that. I would simply measure from the top here. I'll simply measure at least 13 inches. Okay, if our bust point is 10, you come down with about 3 inches so that it doesn't get tight. Then along this area, you know, this the sleeve is not usually fitted in most cases. It's not usually fitted in most cases. So along this area, what you do, whatever is her bicep. For example, if her bicep, like in this case, her bicep is 16 inches. All right, so that's 16 inches, which if you divide it by 2 will give you 8, is fine here. So it's going to have room at the arm, because this part is not the bicep. The bicep will have been somewhere around here, but for us to make the bicep 8, it will give enough room. Remember that we still have to take cognizance of the allowance for the joining, and we have to also take cognizance of the allowance we use in joining this part. So because of that, I'm going to be adding extra 2 inches to that 8 inches, and I'll mark it like so. All right, now you can just do something like this, just square a straight line, okay, just to as a guide. So now this measurement I used for here, I used 14.5 inches. I would also use same here. Her bust is actually 43, so if you want to use 43 as measurement, it's 43 divided by 4 will give us about 10¾ but I don't want it to be exactly her bust measurement. I have to give room for it. So if this is her bust measurement here divided by 4, I have to also give some room. So I'm going to give at least 3 inches for the allowance, okay? And then I'll connect it to the hip, all right? Now, we cannot leave it sharp like this. So what we do here is to simply connect it this way. Are you seeing it? So from here, I just use this as a pointer to guide us. So from here, you just simply draw your slants, all right? Very easy. Very, very easy. So now I'll go ahead and start cutting from the hem. Now, before I continue, this style actually has it has like a design. From the design is in form of a facing, and it goes this way to the end of the garment. So I'm going to be drawing how I want the design to be, then I will show you how we are going to join it. It's going to be really, really beautiful. Just pay rapt attention. All right, so I'm starting from the hem. I want the design to be, I want the wideness of this design to be at least 5, let's say 6 inches. 6 inches. So if it's unfold, that will be 3 inches, right? Now, instead of that 3 inches, I'm going to measure 2.5 inches here, okay? Because I'm giving room for the joining. So I'll measure 2.5 inches, like so. I'll keep measuring 2.5 inches. This part that I've done, I'll square it up so that we don't, then I'll go up and continue measuring 2.5, 2.5, just like that. Okay. So here, 2.5. kind of blended this place so that it doesn't look too sharp. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut, but I won't cut this part because we have to cut out the back. It's after we've cut the back, then I'll cut the facing and show you how we're going to do it. So guys, don't move anywhere, just keep watching and keep learning. Remember, I'm skipping this neck. Okay. So we're going to rearrange our fabric. So we can cut the next set.
Hey, move where?
So if you're watching, let me know which country you're watching from. You can drop a comment telling us where you're watching from so that I can give you a special welcome, a special thumbs up. So I have arranged the fabric and I will simply so we are going to place it. Please come and sit. We're going to place it so we can recut. Please, you're not saying it. Ensure that it is equal. The center, the place that is on fold should be equal with the second one. Okay. So I'm going to start from the shoulder. Support. Now for this neck, I'll cut both together. Okay, you know, I did that of the front, and I also did the neck for the back. So when I'm cutting now, I'm going to cut the two together, just this back. Okay, then I would release the one underneath. I'll release this one underneath and then cut out the neck for just the front. Please pay attention. So I'm cutting both together now. And once I do that, you see that this place has been cut and this place has also been cut. So I'm going to focus on just this front and I'll cut Okay, so you see that we have our front and we have our back. Now that I have done that, what I will simply do is to keep cutting along this other side. And that is it. So the remaining pieces here, you can use it for your hair tie. Like I said, this kind of fabric are the rare prints. They are usually very, very beautiful. It comes in 5 yards. So when you finish cutting, you can use this for your hair tie, okay? So I would simply fold this hair tie and set it aside. Now, I will set aside the back for now. Later, I'm going to cut the facing for the back neck. So now for this part, which is of utmost importance, I'm going to be cutting out this part that I said I want to use as facing. Okay, so I'm cutting it completely. I said I wanted to use another fabric to do it, and instead of stitching my facing on top, and it's doable anyway. It's not as if it can't work. It can work, but I discovered that most times it's stressful for one to join the facing. So I feel this method is better for me to do cut and replace. So I'm going to cut this on another fabric, adding my seam allowance. But before I cut that, I will have to gum the material that I'm going to be using for it. So let me get the fabric and show you guys. So guys, this is the fabric I want to use. This is the fabric I want to use. Because of the various colors on this material, I felt that the black is going to tone it down a bit. And we are going to bedazzle it with stones, with Swarovski crystals. So we're going to put a lot of stones on it. So by the time we are done, it will be glittery, it will be dazzling, and it will give us another effect completely, okay? So, because of the nature because of the nature of this fabric, you can see that the fabric stretches. You can see it stretches. So if I cut it directly now, it's going to be really, really tasking for us to join. So what I'm going to do is we're going to gum with fusible interface. We're going to gum the parts that I want to use. After gumming it, then I'll place it to cut. The interface cloth stay. So we're going to do that now. I need to first of all check to ensure that This fabric is long enough. It is actually 60 inches long. So I need to check first so that I'll know if I need to join the fabric first before cutting. So let me check and confirm if it will give me the length that I desire. Okay, it's long enough. It's long enough. I've seen it. So you can see it, guys. It's actually long enough. Can you see? And this is the beginning here. It's actually long enough. So we're going to cut. So before cutting, I don't want to just cut it directly, like I said. We are going to gum at least from this part. I'm marking the area that we should gum. Okay. I'm marking the areas that we should gum before we cut. Okay. So this part should be sufficient for us. It's much more than enough. So I'm going to cut that part out and take it to my ironing table in order to gum it. I'm cutting it out.
100 MB, small. Well, quick change. Go 100 MB. Hey, network no dey go. Network no dey go.
So another thing I want to do is because of the way we are going to be joining the kaftan, this part, if you're just joining us, we've gone a long way, but if you watch from the beginning, I'm sure you're going to catch up. And if you're just dropping into my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Encourage small creators as us so that we'll keep putting ourselves out there. Thank you. So like I said, I had cut this from our kaftan, okay, from our center front in our kaftan. Now remember that kaftan doesn't usually come with lining. We hardly line our kaftan. And if I were to be joining this, because what I did here was simply cut and replace. So if we were to be joining this on this line, for this style line, it's going to form like a style line. And if I were to join it, the joining will be visible, yes, and I know we are going to weave it out. And I used this velvet fabric. To I'm going to use this velvet fabric to replace the facing. Okay, please pay attention. I'm using it to replace the facing, and I have sent the fabric, this velvet fabric, I've sent it for us to gum it so that I can cut it out, because I cannot cut it directly now because of the nature of the fabric. It stretches. It is like a one-way stretch, and it's going to distort our efforts by the time we are joining it. So that is why we are gumming it first of all, to give it some weight, to make it sturdy. I'm going to be cutting it out. All right. Now, what I'm going to do the interface is going to be showing, and I don't want that to occur. I don't want it to be obvious that we gummed something. So what I will do is that I have to line whatever it is that I'm using. That's this fabric that I'm using. I have to cut another fabric to line it up in order to cover up the interface. If what I'm saying you don't understand, please just drop it in the comment section so that I'll be able to explain it later, okay? All right. So okay, so I'll simply take this away for now, and this is the fabric I want to use to line that. This is a doll face. It's a doll face satin. I hope I'm there,
You need to be in a more confined space. And you know how you can do video inside your house. Except that other office, if you can set up that place now will not be having
noise.
the video still on.
I'm live.
Okay, live.
Please pardon the noise. Pardon the noise that you're hearing. The area I am is quite noisy, but I'm going to do something about that very soon. So this is not quite as long. As you can see, it's not quite, you can see it, it's not quite as long. There's still some space, so I don't mind joining that later, okay? So, let me place weight so it doesn't shift. So I'll go ahead to cut, and I'll be adding joining allowance for the cutting, 1/2 inch on both sides. I'll be adding the joining allowance. I'll be leaving here for now until when I cut the main fabric. I'll be leaving here for now, okay? So let me get the other fabric. But while I'm waiting, because we are still gumming the fabric, so while you are waiting, I'll quickly go ahead and cut the facing for the back neck. So this here is our back, and this is the neck. I just need a little facing, so I'll take some of the from the fabric that we cut out before from the piece. I don't need much, so I'll simply arrange it like so. I want to draw out where I want it to stop. I don't want it to go beyond 3 inches. So this is 3 inches, it's fine by me. Okay. Remember I said I don't want to go beyond 3 inches. So I'm going to be marking how Okay. So, something like so, it's fine by me. And then I'll cut it out. Okay, sorry, I lost connection there. So I'm setting back my camera. Okay. So I was saying something. I said I've cut the facing, okay, for the neck. Now this is the back. This is the back, and this here is the front, okay. Now for the facing, it is best to gum your fusible interface, okay, on this place before you start your project. You gum it, and if possible you use your serger or your overlock machine to weave the ends of this facing before you start. So you're going to place it on the neckline like so, and then you stitch 1/4 inch round. When you stitch 1/4 inch round, you notch an edge stitch on the facing. So I'm going to take this now to my ironing table for us to be able to gum it. We are gumming this area. Not hemigum, with facing, with stay.